8 years in the making. I started this 2015, and the wildflowers are really blooming now. It's, I guess 7 years, 7 full seasons. This is the 8th. This is my health strip garden here, and Pride of Barbados, Esperanza. You can see some Mexican oregano under there. I'm gonna have to move those, but what I've decided, it is September 26th, 2023. We've just ended one of the worst summers in Texas history. We had like 80 straight days of 100-degree temperature and no rain at the same time. 100 degrees and no rain. So I just let this go. You know, whatever lived, lived, and whatever died, died. What I found is that the Mexican bush sages that got a little bit of shade over here, they made it. So I think I need to leave this to Pride of Barbados, Mexican bush sage where it can be shaded, and Esperanza. I just love this combination though. Esperanza, Pride of Barbados, great combo. Yeah, this is El Dorado Texas sage. The El Dorado is much more silver, kind of a silvery white, than the Silverado Texas sage. I know this because I have all the different varieties of Texas sage in my yard, or have had at one time. And this is the Silverado. You can see it is less silver than this one. This is the El Dorado, that's the Silverado. Whatever. So I really love the Silverado. I love the almost white silver with the pink flowers. It's just amazing. Look at all that. And when you walk past, I don't know, let me get close, see if you can hear the buzzing. There's just bees everywhere, all around. Behind it, we have a Mexican willow. Very open tree. I'm going to plant 3 of them real close together in Houston. You can just see how open it is here. I mean, it's kind of not even a shrub, really. If you put 3 of them close together, I think they'd be pretty dense. Love this garden. Absolutely love this garden. Took me 8 years to build it. There's 11 gardens here total. This is Indian blanket right here. My lawnmower's broken, so I can't mow these. But I mean, it is what it is. As soon as my lawnmower gets fixed, I'll mow all this. But this is where wildflowers are. You can kind of see where they are anyway. You can kind of see the berms. There's a bunch of berms over here, like eyelashes. There's one there, one there, one there, one there, one there. And the berms, well, I put in the berms of granite sand. I had a bunch of granite sand delivered. Got my neighbors to help, paid them, put in a bunch of berms. And these berms are the only places that the bluebonnets grow. I mean, they grow really sparse between in the clay areas, but on the berms, it's like solid bluebonnets. So they really do appreciate the granite sand. These 2 oaks, man, if you go back and look at the videos, these oaks weren't even taller than the house whenever I bought this place 8 years ago. I every other year I go get about 50 gallons, so 10 5-gallon buckets of coffee grounds from Starbucks, and I put under the trees under here. That's all I do for it, but they have exploded in growth. Live oaks are supposed to be slow. These have grown 18 to 22 inches a year. I've measured it in some cases. It's just crazy how much they grow. All right, all the limestone kind of came secondary, but I like the design here. And Mexican bush sage kind of wraps around behind there. This is a green cloud Texas sage. And then right here we've got a bunch of Salvia greggii. This is my favorite kind of Salvia greggii. I actually came from the guy across the street. He has one that I just can't seem to find anywhere else. Well, these got fried this year. I mean, it just really wasn't a good year for any sort of growth. We've had 1 rain since all the 100-degree straight heat, so they look pretty scraggly. No, I'm going to trim them this year. Over here we have Yucca Restrada. This Yucca Restrada I bought in 2017. It's probably 35 years old now. Oh, look, a little treat there. Nice big old butterfly coming in for landing on the plumbago. This is the reason I have all that stuff for these guys. So I like the plumbago in this spot because it can cascade. So it almost takes on a cascading form, you can see, as it just rolls down the hill there. And it looks nice on this live oak. This plumbago is in a great spot because it just gets the very early morning sun, and then this tree right up here shuts off the sun. So it gets a break, and then it gets full sun again. So I don't know why it is, but plumbagos seem to like that formula. So I planted a lot of experiments in my yard. One of them is standing cypress. You can see standing cypress there and standing cypress there. This is one of these things I didn't put in a specific, or I put in a specific area, but now that I see it, I just let it grow wherever. Look how small it is. I mean, in terms of width, this is the entire width of it. So you can pretty much put it in. I mean, it'll fit anywhere. There's always gaps between plants. If you plant it right, there's gaps between plants, and these just come up in those gaps. So I'll show you over here now so you know what they look like. Wow, look at all of those. There's so many right there. Let's go to here, 1.0, so many. And it continues over here. So many. Standing cypress, you can see one there coming out. This is hummingbird crack. I mean, for real. Hummingbirds just absolutely can't get enough of this stuff. But when we're talking hummingbird crack, the thing we can't ignore is the flame acanthus. The flame acanthus is what they fight over. I'll sit outside, and when I work out here, there'll be a hummingbird that dominates the flame acanthus. Let me put this on 0.5 so we can see it better. Dominates the flame acanthus. And then there'll be birds, hummingbirds, and maybe over the plumbago, or maybe another one over in this plumbago, or another one over somewhere over there. But if they come to this, he will go after them, or she will go after them. They're very particular about their flame acanthus. They like it. My neighbors, when I first moved here, were complaining because all the hummingbirds were not in their yard anymore. Apparently they used to have tons, and now they have none. So the flame acanthus is the answer, and this stuff is it's awesome. It only grows about this tall, right? So you get about 5 feet tall, and then it'll fall over. So if I separate these are holding on to each other right now, right here. But if I was to separate these, it feels like one of them would fall over right now. They're just not very woody. So they kind of make a nice big overgrown ground cover. Almost. Yeah. Over here, Jerusalem sage, one of my favorite sage flowers. It's an amazing sage. It's yellow, and it blooms in the spring. I kind of put it to the back of the garden because it only blooms for about 6 weeks. On a good year, it'll bloom for like 7 weeks. But it's just a beautiful flower, and it smells like soap. This Mexican bush sage is hurting. I didn't water this at all. Oh, you can see one coming out. There's one starting to bloom. Missed that guy, girl. So Mexican bush sage there. Love that plant. That's why I put so much of it in. It's hardy. It's bulletproof. This plant here, Fragrant Mistflower, I don't like the smell of it, but there is one butterfly that only comes to this plant. You see all the plant. You actually only see a little bit. Here's more of the plants. All the pollinator plants I have over here. There's one butterfly that will only come to this plant. And I don't know if it feeds and lays its eggs here. I don't know. But they're huge and they're black. So there you go. I keep it. But honestly, I don't like the way it smells. It's Fragrant Mistflower, and it smells like almost like urine. I do like this. Love that. These planters I've had for 25 years. And they've got succulents in them right now. They've had all kinds of stuff in them, but the succulents are the best, I find. This is awesome. Everyone comments on this plant right here. It is called a Sabal minor or a Dwarf Palmetto. And it's a spineless palm. You can see it's got seeds down here. This one is extremely healthy, you can tell. Probably healthy because this tree here is only a few years old, so I dripped it this summer. I would, turn it on a very slow drip and drip it overnight. And so I'm sure this got some of the water from that tree. I put the hose right there. So 2 more dwarf palmettos. The reason these are here is because Bentley is buried here, his body, and Rocky's ashes are sprinkled here. And I'm trying to put plants here that everybody likes, that are big enough. Like, I don't think people are going to dig right next to the root zone of this tree. So especially if this gets this big, because everybody likes the way that looks, I think people will just let this go right here. And I hope that Bentleys and Rocky's resting area will remain undisturbed. I'm really going to miss those guys. So the bird bath is marking their area. And yeah, there's a stone under there and then this stone on top. So it is what it is. Over here, so like I said, I let stuff go during the summer, and this summer was brutal. The black and blue sage is damn near finished. There's a couple of them still coming up, but there's there's got to be 30 plants here. And during the summer, I didn't water them. I wanted to see what would happen. Well, this is what happened. They all died. Every one of them. I say every one of them. There's, how about I not walk in the garden? There's one there. There's a couple there. There's a few left. Most of them died. It's just, that summer was hard. Even the Pride of Barbados was wilting at one point. Once we hit the 60-day point with no rain and it had been 100 degrees, I watered everything. I put a hose out here. There was some stuff I didn't water like this because I wanted to find out if it was hardy enough. The other stuff I know is hardy enough. It's been through Texas summers. Yeah, so I watered some of the stuff out here for, 30 minutes or so with just a little sprinkler. I mean, it just got so dry. I just love this view. I mean, it's just beautiful. I just love it. I'm really going to miss this place a lot. This is a wall over here. I've got two, actually, I'll start here. I've got two mountain laurels that were planted by Crystal. She killed herself a few years ago, so these are kind of special. I'm really hoping they make it. I mean, anything that made it through this summer will be fine moving forward. If it made it 60 days with 100-degree temperatures and no rain, I mean, that's only happened twice in the last 100 years. I think it'll make it. These photinias are here just for space right now, just to hide the foundation and stuff. I'm hoping that the mountain laurels get big soon so that they can hide the foundation. Don't know what that is. As a volunteer, I just leave it there. I don't know. It is what it is. There was something variegated, but now it's coming up solid. These are chili patines. I had a robust chili patine garden, but an armadillo has taken out almost all of it. That sucks. Over here we got a plant that's tough as nails. I thought this was more of a shade plant, so I put it here. It gets about an hour of sun a day. It clearly wants more. This thing's got to be 5 years old, and it's just clearly not growing very well. It's an Agarita, but I'm not going to move it. It is what it is. This is another mountain laurel. Oh, a little baby lizard in the background there. Let's see if we can zoom in on her. Anyway, mountain laurel there. So they're all the same age, all the small ones. Crystal planted them from seed. So I've kept them. I believe this one is 5 years old. 4 or 5 years old. So everyone told me for the first 5 years they're going to be 18 inches tall. No kidding. They were right. Plus it doesn't get a ton of sun here. They're here because these are so good in shade. They're planted outside of the pipeline, so hopefully if the pipeline gets dug up, they won't get dug up. There's a pipeline that comes right through here, so we have an easement. And so, I'm trying to, these are right on the edge of the easement. Texas Betony, just about dead. Had high hopes for the Texas Betony. It is a native, but it's really having a hard time. This garden's been decimated by the armadillo. So, this Yopon holly is interesting. Love-hate relationship with this thing. This Yopon holly was one of the first things I got when I got here. It's like 6 feet tall. It fell over. It got 5 feet tall and then it fell over. So now it had to start over again. Oh my gosh, I was so frustrated. So it started over with a new, you can see it. See, it fell over. And then this had to start from a branch again. The branch was this big. Yeah, not happy about that. Or whatever, it's going to be thick. Eve's necklace. This thing is like 7 years old too. God, it grows so slow and it's so thin. I mean, it is what it is. I planted one of these because it was on sale, and I wanted to see what it's like. It's a cousin to the mountain laurel. Kind of looks like the mountain laurel. These are, I always forget the name of this shrub. Always forget the name of this. Pittosporum. And it is what it is. Screening shrub. Another Pittosporum, screening shrub. And, oh, the American Beautyberry is looking good, I guess. Let's show that. It's kind of wilted because it's so dry. But the American Beautyberry is looking awfully good. I do love this scene right there. Coming over here. This front garden was built for people entering and people leaving. So when people leave, this is everybody's favorite Pride of Barbados, and it's at eye level. So you see it, it's just a stunningly beautiful flower. Esperance in the background, all the greenery. You can see the Texas sage in the back, right? The Texas sage in the back. Step down. And on this side, it's Greg's Mistflower. Excuse me. I tunneled into the sidewalk to put this here little irrigation thing that I used because I used to have artichokes in that bed. So this is Greg's Mistflower right here, and typically this is humming or butterfly crack. This one's not in bloom right now. I mean, I haven't watered this, so it's not in bloom. So there's a few coming out, but what I want is for butterflies to go phew as people come out. Over here we have a Succulent Garden, and spaced in there is a Texas native poinsettia. Kind of see, you see how they can't market it, but you can also see how the leaves have the color there too. See that? The leaves have a kind of a cool color there, I think. Yeah. This is bamboo muley. I cut it down flush to the ground every year so that there's no spikes sticking up, because I wanted something soft, so if my kid had to get out of the window or whatever in a fire, she could jump on something soft. So that's what this is here for. And yeah, I think as long as I cut it flush to the ground every winter, it's fine. This is growth with no water, by the way. I didn't water this ever this summer. It's a grass, right? So I didn't think I had to. My goodness, it's a muley grass. You can kind of see the succulents. They look pretty cool. There's a few cool succulents here. So this is also designed for people. This is Sweet Almond Verbena. And Sweet Almond Verbena is easily the best smelling thing in this garden. It smells so good. Sweet Almond Verbena. I'm using plumbago as the ground cover here. Ground cover is relative, right? These are for a wildflower. These are giants. These are like 7, 8 feet, 9 feet tall. And so the plumbago being 2 or 3 feet tall, 3 feet tall is a giant plumbago. The plumbago will be 2.5 feet tall, right? That's a great ground cover. Not much is going to outcompete it. So now I've taken control of that whole area, which used to be a lot of weeds. This Yopon, oh my goodness. This is a throwback from when I first moved in here. This thing was almost this big when I moved in here, but there was a lot of dead stuff in it, and I started over. So I trimmed it back. It has taken 8 years to grow this big. And I trimmed it to like here. It grows maybe 2 inches a year. It is ridiculous. I had a real hard time with this space, but I found a combination that works now. We got 3 things in the combo. Oxblood lilies. Right there. Kind of see there's one still blooming. Yeah, let's show the oxblood. That's a beautiful flower. Beautiful. Cool. That's an oxblood lily. And those bloom for about 2 to 3 weeks a year after the first rain in September. First big rain in September, they will bloom. They're bulbs. They live deep. And then they'll continuously bloom with every rain for about a month. They bloomed once because we've only had one rain, so that's it. Here we have tropical sage, but what I found works really well, these are wild violet petunias. And they are tough as nails. I can see how they're not commercially marketable because they don't have very thick flowers. But if you mix it in with the tropical sage, it looks pretty good. You know, it was a lot thicker last year, but I didn't water this area, and most of it died, to be honest. These Mexican mint marigolds, I propagate. So most of these plants, I would get one or two, and then I'd propagate all these plants. In this Esperanza's case, all the Esperanzas are propagated from one, because I had one that was really good, and the others were just not as ideal. This is Mexican mint marigold right here. Mexican mint marigold is also a substitute for dill, and it smells really cool, almost like licorice when you rub up against it. In the fall, it'll grow about 6 inches in 1 month and put on the most beautiful yellow flowers that are almost like this yellow. This was purposefully placed here because I wanted a nice big yellow presence on the path here. And it's, you know, gonna kind of fill in eventually, but wow, this summer really took I mean, gosh, these are desert flowers, and this one over here you can see is just hurt. And I did water these because they were new, so I did water them. Some of them are new, so I transplanted some, and there's 3 or 4 of them that are existing. But my goodness, they're just hurting overall. I think that's about what I can show here. Garlic chives, yeah. The deer used to sleep here. Ha ha ha. So I planted a big bunch of garlic chives. They should sleep right here. Guess what? They don't sleep here anymore. They hate garlic chives. So it doesn't keep them out of the yard, but it keeps them from settling in the yard, I found, and that's a victory. I like the path I created out there. This was created after watching people for 2 years. I wasn't sure how to design this path through here, but when I watched my kids walk from there to the school bus, which is behind me, they followed a common path, and their path was like this. So I wanted them to walk around the garden. So that's why I put real showy stuff right here. They'd walk around so that when they walk to school, they see showy stuff every day. This rock is placed here. It's an ideal spot. If I want to stand in my yard and kind of be anonymous, nobody can see me coming from this street right here. You look at this way, people can see me. That guy's the mailbox, but the Yucca Restrada blocks the view. So it's really nice. It's excellent from a screening perspective. Last but not least, this is where I spent most of my time, right here, this bench. And I'll show you why. That's pretty cool, huh? This is my office. So I can be under here and be mostly anonymous. As long as I'm not talking. You can just see it's just beautiful, trimmed up. That's my view. Screen from cars. Screen from cars. Screen from cars. Screen from neighbor. Screen from neighbor. Everything here was purposely planted to provide a private spot here in the lawn. I'm really gonna miss this place.